On October 24th, the U.S. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta made a request to South Korea to join the United States' effort in creating a multinational missile defense system. The request was made at a conference between Panetta and his Korean counterpart, Kim Kwon-jin. Kwon-jin responded to Panetta's request by declining the offer, stating that his country doesn't want to make the Chinese government angry. Now, publicly, the United States' reasoning for such a missile defense system has been to protect itself and countries in Asia from the impending threat of North Korea's development of nuclear weapons. However, many experts and media agencies in Asia believe that the U.S. is really just creating a missile defense wall at the entryway to China. At the press conference following their meeting, Panetta again cited the U.S.'s reasoning for trying to develop missile defenses in the area as being to protect itself and others from North Korea. But what about Weibo users? What do they think? Let's take a look.
Nations who already joined the U.S.'s global missile defense system did it mainly because they had little choice. Because if there should be a war, the defense system can't intercept one nuclear bomb. If Korea pissed China off, their loss is even bigger than that of Japan. They don't dare risk it right now. Once conflicts occurred between China and the U.S., Korea and Japan will both suffer serious loss, so they should take more time to think.
Yes, you better think about what you're doing. Now, to a lot of Chinese internet users, East Asian nations such as Korea and Japan should partner up with China as opposed to the U.S. Now, to them, China has changed a lot from the 50s and 60s. It's no longer the red menace with an agenda to promote the ideals of communism across the globe. China just wants to conduct business and try to keep the influence of the U.S. to the western half of the hemisphere. And any thwarting of U.S. effort in the Asia-Pacific is a small victory, as Weibo users would like to point out. Okay, next we have comments from Chuanji and Ashwell.
They still don't understand what China's capable of. The U.S. will deploy its missile defense system in Korea and Japan, that's for sure. Just keep watching. The U.S. wanted to do military exercise with Japan, turned down. Then wanted Korea to join its anti-missile system, rejected. The U.S. always wants to make some trouble, but unfortunately, no one's a fool.
Now, maybe Korea was taking notes from Panetta's trips to China and Japan this September in its declination of the offer. Now, before traveling to China to meet with a possible future Chinese President Xi Jinping, among others, Panetta made a stop in Japan, at which time the country agreed to join in on the missile defense system's effort. Now, obviously, among the controversy between China and Japan concerning the Diaoyu Islands, the agreement between the U.S. and Japan did not please China and raised a lot of criticism. Now, top-level Chinese officials and experts said that even though the U.S. claims the system is directed at North Korea, they felt it is also directed at China. They also expressed that the agreement with Japan emboldened the country to be less negotiable while dealing with the Diaoyu Islands dispute. Now, this is likely the kind of criticism that South Korea would like to avoid, as they said that they are a country that will only work to develop a personal defense system for its own protection. Now, whether or not the U.S. system is being developed with China in mind is left to be seen. Okay, let's take a look at a few more Weibo comments.
Obviously, the target is North Korea. Why do we want to get involved? Aren't we feeling too good about ourselves? I don't know. How many years will the concept of global anti-missile system carry on? It's an unworthy big name. Actually, all they need to do is launch a missile to Tokyo or Seoul. Maybe the defense system won't work at all. Korean defense minister's decision is very smart since China's relations with its neighbor countries are pretty tense. After all, sometimes a relative far away is not as helpful as a neighbor. China and Korea are geologically close to each other. They shouldn't turn against each other.
Well, as the old Chinese saying goes, you should have a well close by if you want to put out a fire. And in this case, China would seem like a better choice for Korea if it wanted some protection against the North. Now, China is also in a very delicate situation diplomatically, since it's pretty friendly with both the North and the South. However, historically, it also contributed to the split of the Korean peninsula in the first place. Now, there are also many Koreans who believe that during the Korean Civil War, If Chairman Mao hadn't backed Kim Il-sung, then the American-backed South would have unified the country, and North Korea wouldn't even exist. A bit of a historical oops. Okay, let's check out the last comments for this story.
Ignore all the military moves the U.S. makes. Launch a Guardian from Shandong. Korea is within its range. Intercept a missile is very expensive. Korea can't afford it.
Now, as one comment points out, the move by Korea to reject joining in on the development is perhaps a wise decision. Now, at this point in time, neighbor relations between those big three Asian powers are relatively tense. So opting into a missile defense system with the U.S. and Japan may not be the best medicine for relations with China.